real quick before we start this episode. Let's have some real talk. The clean living space is really loud right now. One person says this is toxic and another person says this is fine. And next thing you know, you're having a full-blown meltdown in the aisle of Whole Foods. If you are over the confusion and you just want some clarity, I have something for you. My newly updated top 25 toxins to avoid isn't just a fear-based no list. These are the ingredients that actually disrupt your hormones, cause cancer, and have the science to back it up. They're not just opinions, it's based on actual facts. But what makes this resource different than anything else out there is I talk about ingredients you should use with caution. Just because something is synthetic does not mean it's toxic. And just because something might irritate your skin doesn't mean it's going to irritate my skin. Those ingredients should not be talked about as being toxic. This resource is no fluff, no shame, and just clarity. It's completely free. You can download it at toxinstoavoid.com. That is toxinstoavoid.com. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Toxin Free podcast. This is episode number 2 in a 3-part series called Toxin Free Fails. And if you haven't checked out last week's episode, number 123, we talked about shampoo and hair care and why clean shampoo and hair care might not be working for you. It's a great episode. Go check it out. Today, we're talking about laundry detergent. Laundry detergent fails. And this is for all the people that have switched to a clean laundry detergent because they wanted a non-toxic option. And now maybe their clothes smell a little bit funky. They're a little bit less bright. They've gotten kind of dull. Maybe they're not very soft. And, they might have that funky smell. And you're wondering, do laundry detergents that are clean actually work? And the answer is yes, they do work. You just have to know a few things. You have to know a few ingredients, and you have to know what kind of water you have. So let's dive right in. What do you do when your clean laundry detergent does not work for you? What do you do when your clothes don't look clean and they kind of stink? I will tell you what most people do. Most people DM me and say, hey, I've tried clean laundry detergent and it doesn't freaking work. I'm going back to Tide. I'm going back to Gain. I'm going back to my laundry detergent that was toxic, but it actually worked. And I don't want people to think that just because a laundry detergent is clean, that it's not going to work. So I'm going to break down for you why that might be happening. I'm going to teach you what ingredients to look for so that you can find a product that works better for you. And I'm going to give you some hacks and some tips and some tricks. And honestly, it might come down to your water. So we're going to talk about that. I've got some show and tell going on. If you're on YouTube watching, I have my liquid Thieves laundry detergent, which is what I have been using for 10 years. And I absolutely love. I talk about it all the freaking time. I also have a bottle of Truly Free, which I know is a slightly controversial brand in the non-toxic world. So I'm actually excited to talk directly about that and about the ingredients that are in here and why people have a problem with it versus why so many people love it so much and what makes it different. And I don't have any Meliora powder with me, but I love that brand. I usually have Meliora powder. It's super, super clean. It's eco-friendly. People who want something that is completely plastic-free, not even like refillable, like Truly Free is refillable. If you want something that comes in recyclable cardboard, something that is a powder only, that has very, very basic ingredients, Meliora is like one of the best out there. As I go through this episode, I'm going to explain the differences between a Meliora powder, a Thieves laundry detergent, and a Truly Free detergent. I'm going to talk about the ingredients, and by the end of this episode, you're going to be like, oh, now I get it. Now I understand why fill in the blank product wasn't working for me, and you're going to know what to try instead. I am not going to lie to you. It does take trial and error, and I know that's something that actually kind of sucks when it comes to clean products because the vast majority of toxins or chemicals that we really want to avoid, they were added to products for a reason. They're the great equalizer. They make things like laundry detergent work no matter what kind of water you have. But when you're making a clean product, you can't control the water, and it is harder to find ingredients that are plant-based, that are non-toxic, that work in a hard water environment. Okay, so now I've said hard water a few times. Let me explain what I mean by that. The mineral content in your water, mostly your magnesium and your calcium, determine the hardness of your water. So if you are somebody who has over 180 parts per million in your water coming into your home, that is considered very hard water. If you're like me and you have under 60 parts per million, because I have a whole house water softener, that is considered super soft water. Between 61 and 120 parts per million, that's moderately hard. And then between 121 and 180, that is just straight up hard. And if you don't know if you have hard water, you can check with your water utility, or there's super cheap $13 kits on Amazon that are really easy, and I'll go ahead and put them in the show notes. So why does the hardness of your water matter? Because minerals interact with the soap that you're trying to use. And plant-based surfactants in powders like baking washes, baking sodas, washing powder, they tend to gunk up and get clung to by those minerals. And so it is really difficult to use those super clean, super effective ingredients in a hard water environment. Now, add to that, we also now have washing machines that are they're efficient. They use a lot less water. That is also very problematic. You actually need a lot of water to get the washing going. Now, historically, our grandmothers, they would use washing sodas and baking sodas and all kinds of DIY things, and they would put them in huge tubs, and they would actually have the friction of washing the clothing. Or when I was growing up, we had those washing machines where the water filled like the whole tub, and then it has an agitator in the middle. And those washing machines are priceless. If you have one of those, do not let it go. Do not upgrade it. Get it fixed, because those things wash better than anything you're going to find on the market now. There's not enough water being used to wash our clothes effectively. So doing things like doing a pre-rinse or doing a pre-soak or adding an extra rinse, those are things you can do that will make a difference. And I know that's counterintuitive to the whole we need to save water thing, but genuinely, you need more water to wash your clothes well. Okay, so if you are like, I want to use a powder, I want to use something like Meliora, something super, super clean, you have to know if you have hard water, that is probably not going to work for you. So something that you can do is you can take that powder and you can dissolve it into a really, really hot water mix, and you can put it into your laundry machine that way. That is something that can help. But I'm just going to be super honest with you. If you have really, really hard water, it is very difficult to use a powdered coconut soap washing soda based type of detergent. So what would be the next step up from something like that? It would be something like Thieves. So Thieves laundry detergent, which is what I use, adds in a few things that those powders don't have. Number one, it's liquid. So automatically it is going to work a little bit better, even if you're in a moderately hard water environment. And while Thieves does use natural plant-based surfactants, it also has an ingredient called sodium gluconate. So sodium gluconate acts as a chelator, and a chelator is basically something that will bind to a mineral and kind of hold it in suspension. So that chelator, it's a mild chelator because it's plant-based. It'll hold on to the minerals so that the plant-based surfactants can do their job and can clean. This laundry detergent also has enzymes. Enzymes help break down stains really, really well. And so between those two things, if you have soft water all the way to moderately hard water, something like a Thieves laundry detergent is going to work really well for you. Once you start getting above about 150 parts per million, you're going to need an extra rinse cycle, or maybe you're going to want to do a soak with this. Or something that you can do that works really well is you can add a half a cup to a cup of distilled vinegar into the fabric softener section of your washing machine. And what that does is that actually helps soften the water. Now, if you are somebody that lives in a very hard water environment, and by very hard water, I mean anything above like 180 up to like 250 parts per million, okay? Like really hard water. Or you have a lot of synthetic polyester clothes, which are naturally harder to clean because polyester is made from plastics and it just kind of like binds to gunk and odors and bacteria grows in it. And it's harder to clean synthetic fibers than it is to clean natural fibers. So in that case, if you are not in a place in your life to invest in a whole house water softener, which by the way, water softeners are amazing. If you can afford it and you can put it in your house, it's good for your hair, it's good for your skin, it's good for your appliances, it's good for your laundry, it's just good for everything. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh yeah, I have really, really hard water, I highly would recommend considering a whole house filter and water softener system. I have a bunch listed on my Toxin Free shopping guide, and there are some that are definitely more budget friendly. But if you're somebody who lives in a hard water environment and that's just not in the cards for you financially right now, this is where I recommend Truly Free. Truly Free as a detergent is something that time and time and time again, people come back and say, this is the only thing that works in my hard water environment. And I consider this product not toxic. Now, some people consider it toxic, and let's talk about why. There are 2 ingredients in this laundry detergent that, in my opinion, are what makes this work in hard water. One of them is sodium dodecylbenzene sulfonate. And I know that's a big word, but basically it's an amniotic surfactant, which means it will help break down grease and stains. And it is a stronger surfactant than, say, a glucoside or something that is less harsh and less strong that you're going to find in, say, like Thieves laundry soap. Okay. So this ingredient is not toxic. And by not toxic, I mean that it doesn't meet my definition of toxic. And my definition of toxic is that it causes harm to your health. It is a reproductive toxin. It is an endocrine disruptor. It is cancer causing. It is immutoxic. It is neurotoxic. It is mutagenic. I have this whole list of things that if an ingredient is known to harm your health, then it's toxic. But this particular ingredient doesn't harm your health. Now, if you have really sensitive skin, then a surfactant like this that is stronger can irritate your skin. It's kind of similar to like shampoos. People say you don't ever want to use a sulfate. And sulfates, the reason why people want sulfate-free shampoo is because it's so harsh that it can hurt your pores, hurt your hair, break your hair, dry your hair. It's just really, really strong. But this particular ingredient in a laundry detergent, that stronger ingredient, will work better in a hard water environment. But again, if you're somebody who has really sensitive skin, this ingredient can irritate your skin. So do an extra rinse. I've used this when I travel and I go to places that I know have really hard water. I'll bring Truly Free with me. I have no problem with it. It does not irritate my skin. No problem. My daughter, who has a history of eczema, also no problem. We have no issue. So this is not a toxic ingredient. This is just something that could potentially be an irritant for somebody who has sensitive skin. The other ingredient is sodium salt. So this acts like a chelating agent. Chelating agents will bind to minerals. So as I told you before, the Thieves laundry detergent uses sodium gluconate, which is a mild chelating agent. Well, tetrasodium is a strong chelating agent. So if you've got really hard water, you need something like that to bind to the minerals so that the rest of the ingredients can do their job and can work well. And again, this ingredient is not toxic, but it can cause irritation in some individuals with sensitive skin. And I think that's the hard part, especially when it comes to laundry detergent in the clean living space, is you can have something that is super, super clean. But if it doesn't work, then who cares? Literally nobody cares. What I hope you got out of this episode is you don't have to go back to Gain, you don't have to go back to Tide, you don't have to go back to products that truly have ingredients that harm your health. You just have to know what kind of water you have, and you just have to buy accordingly. All right, I hope this helped. If you have other categories of toxin-free fails you want me to cover and explain why it might not be working for you and what you should do instead, head on over to Instagram at Wendy_toxin-free-ish, send me a DM and let me know. Stay tuned for next week, our last toxin-free fails in the series, and it's gonna be all about deodorant. I'll see you next week.